Live. Go
And
live.
as soon as Devin gets himself the computer he wants, he's gonna be our editor, dude.
That's awesome. I'm thinking about
Of
getting a new
course.
computer if things work well for me here in the next couple of weeks.
Well, it's like
We close the gap on ES to the tick.
nice.
I'm going to have Ironclad send me his specs so I know what kind of computer to get. I'm RAM. I got RAM envy, dude.
There you go.
64 gig. Oh my gosh.
Good morning, YouTube. Welcome back to another day of probably the best price action we've seen in a long time. This has been a
Price
glorious
action.
market, man. So I'm kind of torn because like I go and do these sessions every day and live stream in our Discord channel, and it's like I can't always record it. And some of the most important sessions, where I'm just kind of chewing through all the little details of all the little strategies we do, I forget to hit a record button because it's in the moment. I can't just like reach over and hit a record button. I can't think to. So I'm like already in the thought trying to get the process going and talk about it. And I just realized, oh man, I should have recorded this. So Devin is going to be grabbing that stuff for us real soon so that he can just monitor it and grab it as it's happening. That'll be his job. So,
So happy about that.
me too.
Do it in sections.
Yeah, absolutely. Just little pieces, and that's all it takes. And then that's the stuff we'll record it and we will keep it kind of in our group. We'll put it out on YouTube a little bit now and then, but we can kind of keep it in a private channel for you guys. 'Cause
Right.
that's where the value is. Because those sessions that we go through when we're not live on YouTube, man, there is some golden stuff in there.
It is.
All right.
Amazon's coming up to test that line currently.
Yep. There is another pivot right there at 108.50 that it just crossed, but
Sorry. I had 109.29.
let me expand that. That's the top of the control bar from the pre-market here. 109 even right there. Sorry. It sucks because when I have my cursor on there, the crosshair price used to overlap the current price and all the other pivots and stuff I have on there. Now it hides behind it.
Tracer top.
Drives me nuts. Yes, bearish engulfing.
It's still got to close though. It's early.
Yeah, give it a minute. But yeah, we've been going over some rather unorthodox option strategies that are,
Killer.
I mean, incredibly profitable. You guys saw some of those P&Ls on positions I had going into the close yesterday. Do you? I mean, do you see stuff like that all the time? I gotta ask. I mean, I know some people who make some pretty nice returns on options, and in some people's eyes, those would be rookie numbers. But the way I get to those numbers is different, and it's just being able to so calmly and collectively trade it that is the key. You start seeing numbers like that, most people, and including myself, if I see something where like I made how much percentage in how short a time, dude, take it. I'll say that all the time. But the way those positions worked for me on Amazon, it was self-hedging half that position in butterfly. So it's like I could sit through the volatility a little bit longer and not just snap my winter closed. So it was just a way to make it much easier to resist FOMO when you learn how to do conversions instead of just focusing on opening and closing positions. And that's the whole point. It's a little unorthodox, it's a little weird for a lot of people, but it just is a way to capture a can't lose situation and then turn it into a calm, collective, just thought process of letting your winners run without really stressing anything. Yes, there's the range box. You think we could box today, just straight sideways under the 415 pivot?
It's all possible. Anything's possible. But you got this news coming out at 10 o'clock, right?
Yeah.
So At 10 o'clock, that's going to give us a good indication of what we're going to be doing, probably, because after that, there's no econ, nothing. Now,
Right.
I think somebody said there may be there may be a Fed speaker today. Not 100% sure.
In the past, that kind of thing has set us up for a trend day, so that is kind of a possibility.
Right, exactly. So that's just, just a thought. We're going to look at it, see what the chart does. I like reading just the chart in front of me. I used to, when we first started, we used to do the UVX thing, and I got into watching UVX and SPY, and I was in the penny stocks, and I had that big a penny stock account I had. And so I would trade shares of UVXY because I couldn't trade shares of SPY. And it would make like a $5 move every day.
Yep. That thing was killer.
But now it killer. But then after a little while, it's like, I don't want to look at another chart.
Right.
Because I can tell what's going to happen with the way I chart by looking at my one chart. I don't need to look at anything else except pay attention to where the big econ is, because I don't want to get caught in one of those big candles.
And it's kind of a process of building those skills, is to break into a session where you're watching two different charts like SPY and UVXY and seeing how they move contrarian to each other in different ways. And they're a little weird, but it works really well for trading one while watching the other. But when you get down to it, you're really ingraining like price action muscle memory in two places at once while you do it. It's really just sticking in your mind. You know how that's moving, and you know exactly how that's probably moving.
Right.
You get to that, and then you build that skill up of noticing the price action itself. And then you can go take that skill and watch a 1 and 5 minute chart and be like, I know what that's going to do, just at a glance. Check
Right.
out this 1 minute diamond right up to the event.
Very interesting. I can draw a diamond with the Quadra tool.
I know.
I did it this morning just playing around.
Keep,
I call it the Swiss Army knife.
nice. Keep tempting me with that TOS, man. I might.
Well, the thing about the TOS, though, this is where I run into trouble. This is why I have problems with streaming, because it takes up so much memory and
Yes.
and so much of your computer. That's why I'm sitting here thinking,
It's a hog.
64. Yeah, let's go get a good one.
Yeah.
Got the MacBook Pro up there. Thank you so much, Ironclad.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be. I might be upgrading my computer system a little bit too, but it does fine for what I got. But if I
I
ever
think
put
it's
TOS on it, it might lag.
414.95.
This is just up to the resistance point of that diamond pattern. This is where they love to rip a face off. So
Was that 414.40 you said you had?
for the pivot, I had under 415, and God, it hides the damn number. Yeah, 414.55 is where I have that, and that's angular. Actually, it's not a pivot.
That's angular.
Yep, that goes back into yesterday's descending wedge into the close.
Yeah.
That's just the angular support for that wedge.
I'm gonna put a line
It's-
on there just so you can see it.
And it's neat. Like, you take this wedge and draw a line and extend it into the next day. It is crazy how it defined the range for the next day's open.
The line I'm gonna put up is from SPY on a 1 minute chart. We'll put it in our Discord. It's just a chart. I don't have anything really on it. It's got some pivots and stuff, but I drew a gray spot so you can see the Globex VWAP, and you can see it's right there. That's where it hit. But now that next little conglomeration of green candle with that bearish tweezer top looking thing, that tells me we might be going back down
Yeah, I think
for a little
so.
bit.
I'm going to
Could
start
be
looking for
forming
$2.
top. You got that pivot there right at, I have a pivot right at what? I hate when these things do me this. Sometimes the
hell.
lines don't. Oh, there it is, 413.70. Price went right to it. 413.70 is evidently a pivot from,
I can
Pre-market.
get a $2 wide eighth expiration.
oh, there's that pivot you were looking at.
for 6 cents right now. Filled. All right. This is a bit out of the money, but it's on the expiration's on the 8th. I went and bought the 397 put, sold the 395 put, and then if price bounces off the bottom of my diamond here, I'll grab the equivalent call real quick before the event.
It's getting ready to happen in 30 seconds, whatever the event is.
Building my position real quick, trying to.
Go for it, baby. 10 a.m. Here it comes. The ISM Service Index. Ladies and gentlemen, the ISM Service
Damn,
Index.
Call
at
size
10 a.m.
expensive.
There goes Apple.
Yikes, is Apple tipping over?
No, it was taken
Oh.
off.
There's that face
That's
rip.
the drop. That's the
diamond.
drop on the break of the flag right there.
Yep.
Yep.
And it happens exactly when I got to join a conference call. See you guys in a bit.
Oh, of course. Wouldn't have it any other way, sir.
Nope. Yep.
That's that news that just came out at 10, the ISM Service Index.
Call site's still expensive for some reason.
Yeah, because right now it's trying to hold above the 20 AMA on the 5-minute.
Right. I'm looking,
And VWAP on the 1.
looking all the way out to like 427 for an equivalent spread on the 8th expiration. That's way out there.
Just going sideways with VWAP all night. That's 5-minute chart. The larger time frame. There we go. Uh-huh. It's that VWAP from the other day. Look at
Just
that.
waiting to condor that, but it's not getting filled yet. I suspect that after this event, we are very likely to fall into a trend day. And
I think the event happened.
yeah, now it's just looking to trend, I think.
There's nothing until Baker Hughes.
My dog just made a weird yip that I've never heard him do before.
My dog woke me up, got on the bed with his paws, the big guy, and said, hit me with his wet nose.
Oh,
Said, I gotta go.
yeah, I keep my bedroom door closed. No animals sleep in my room.
Oh, they're all in our room, Jack. They're all in our room.
Must be nice.
What, not having one?
No, not having them in the room. My wife
Yeah.
doesn't like not having them in there.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
no.
in the room with us all the time. Coming back to that top
Nope, they're not in the room with me.
of the opening range.
Morning, guys.
Morning.
Good morning, Ricardo.
That is bearish down to that angular support on that little diamond.
Yeah,
That should
there's
fall
your turn right there.
about
Coming
412.20. There's a regression line too. Whenever you see a channel like this, even if it's developed off a diamond pattern, don't forget the regression line.
No.
Even if it's skewed, it's still there. It's still relevant. And then I'll adjust this just a little bit to kind of match the channel. I'm not going to
So
extend it
on
any
that
further
chart.
than that yet because this is just the opening range. Once I know a trend, I can verify it after the opening range.
Right.
Call side's getting expensive again. Dang, my order didn't fill. Let me see if I can move it out of strike.
We're going to get another failed M-top today.
Maybe.
You know, I've seen a lot of those lately.
Yeah, it's just been.
It's like when you see, it's like we were having those great channels for a while, remember?
Yep.
And then we were getting the good M-tops. Well, now you're getting a lot of failed M-tops, I notice.
It's just the market kind of changing seasons here. You know, like I said, it's like when you start saying this is too easy, must be something I'm missing. It
I ain't
is
saying it no
exactly
more.
it. Yep. Because it will start doing something different. And if you stay stuck in the mindset of this pattern works, I'm going to keep doing it, and suddenly it
Right.
falls apart, that's where you've got to make the decision. I need to change with the leaves. This market is changing conditions.
Right. And that's why I like the third thing, because you can see where
Yes.
it's going. You can see those 33, 66% things. And even if it does change, you can still grab. I mean, you're still going to have a flag that's going to, if you get one leg, you're going to get and you get a second leg, it's going to equal the first.
Right.
So the measured moves are still out there. It's just a matter of, as Sensei says, be nimble.
Be nimble.
Be nimble. Yeah, we're reading a thing on trading the other day, and the guy was talking about, hey, look, you're sitting there looking at this chart, you're seeing a pattern, you're saying, well, it's got to do this, it's got to do that, and he's like, just don't have a bias of what it's got to do, and read what it's doing.
Yep.
Read the chart and see what it's doing. If you're in an ascending bull channel, but it's really tight, and you get a couple of bear things, and you think it's supposed to go back up, and then you got like 4 bear bars, dude, it's not going back up.
Nope. No, that is a common misconception
1, 2, 3.
right there. We put it on some of our swag in the swag shop that we have. It's on a sweater. It says it'll go back up. Good morning. There was somebody who asked me to look at Baba on our YouTube channel last night. I'll get to that in just a moment. I don't know if he's here with us or not, but
Babaloo.
I'm bad with names. I remember the comment, but I can't flip screens to go see the comment right now because I'm in a live stream session. So,
Oh, and I don't have YouTube on.
oh,
Let
no
me,
worries.
I can do that.
Ah, either way.
Oh, yeah. Let me see what I can do. I might have to deal with coffee right now. Not now. Not now. All right, so the M-top hadn't completed yet, but it still looks like a head and shoulders a little bit.
These diamonds are so friggin' cool, man.
Mm-hmm. Playing with VWAP on the 1 on the SPY.
I gotta throw up the ascending regression line.
One of the ways to use this little measuring tool I use is when you get the open and you get a first high, like we did with those 2 wicks there,
Right.
you measure the open to the high. And that gives you, like, you can see where you're, like, we've already made the 50% retracement of the open to the first high that we have now. And we've come down to almost the 66. We've wicked into the 66%. So this is the level where I'm going to watch to see if it's going to bounce or if it's going to continue down to the 100% back towards the open.
Right.
I'm looking at that on a 5-minute chart.
I'm
And then
chilling.
I can measure that too. Oh, I have levels up top. Okay, yeah. So I have the bullish and the bearish argument.
It may have been Badu, but I could swear it was Baba. I don't know. I'll look at it in a second. I'll look at both. Hell with it. We got time.
Do you do QQQ spreads?
Occasionally.
Like they had this $13 move the other day.
Yeah. You
And
can
SPY moved $5.
you can do them. I'm used to SPY. I really focus on SPY, but back, if you remember when I was doing the single leg stuff on SPY, when the chart would be too choppy, I'd start trading QQQ because it was smoother.
Right, smoother.
And
The NQ.
right, and you can do that with the NQ on futures as well. But the spreads on Q are a little different. Sometimes they'll end up having a $2 wide bid ask spread on them occasionally, and it makes it a little screwy sometimes. So it's a little different than
NQ
SPY.
can be a little funny to ride,
Yeah,
but good when ES is too quiet or not flowing. Because you can trade the NQ or the Qs by watching the ES.
yep. It's almost
So a lot
it's
of
almost
folks
fluid,
do.
like they're entangled. We talking about sorry,
Acidophilus?
quantum physics here. We're talking about particle entanglement. Now we're talking about ETF entanglement or index entanglement.
Talked to Jane Pinkham about entanglement,
Yeah.
whatever her name was.
Damn. Even though we're in a descending trend, the call side of my I'm trying to condor SPY real quick just to kind of ride whatever momentum it throws at us. 'Cause it's still undecided yet. It looks a little more bearish than bullish. When the call side's expensive like that, something going on. So let's look back. We've had a bull trend. Well, yeah, we're at the bottom of an angular support and likely to bounce here. That's what people are seeing. So the sentiment is leaning on the call side, right? Well, you got to remember, and you start to really figure this out when you start wheel trading, selling options to open. For every time there's a big order of options that are purchased, some smart dude sold them. And they sold them to open. So they wrote those contracts. And it's usually going to give you an indication of movement or at least sentiment. But you got to remember, everybody tries to follow the smart money. They're usually a step behind. So if you can get ahead of that and realize, hey, if I were selling options on SPY today for a wheel trade, as if I had a long position I can sell covered calls on, or I can sell cash covered puts to get into SPY, what would I do? I go look at the traditional wheel trading would say, okay, go a month out and start looking at 30 deltas and sell those, or 0.3 delta. Kind of the traditional way to do that, yes. And if you look at the sweeps, a lot of them tend to be in that sweet spot, or sometimes they're only 2 weeks out. You'll see a big sweep of a big block of option contracts that somebody buys. Just got to know, there's a buyer and a seller in every market, including options, and usually the smart guys writing contracts. That's how they make income. That is an income strategy altogether. Here we go. Maybe that call side will fill real quick.
When do the day trades for Thinkorswim reset? Is it after tonight's close?
So it's like this on every brokerage. You make a day trade, it falls off in 5 trading days. Doesn't count the weekend. So each time you make a day trade, if you make 3 in one day, all 3 of them will be cleared in 5 days. If you make 1 every day for 3 days straight, there's going to be a day overlap on those resetting. But there's still going to be 5 days from the instance.
So if you do one every other day,
Exactly. You'll always have one that you can use.
because you're breaking up the PDT.
Right.
So every other day you're all right. If you do one today and then maybe swing one tonight, you see, okay, every other day. Yeah, okay. This zone that the MES is bouncing off of, this is why I look left. We always look left. I did this one on the green doji, so everybody can just see that. When I look left, I look to see where is price going to react, and if I see 3 candles together, even if I, the bottom of the red bear bar and that green doji, hammer doji, which by the way didn't stop price from going up, but they're right there and they're kind of together, and then the top, it's like a 3 candle formation. You can see you move it left, and that box, price respected that area.
Yes, sir. Damn, Tesla is going to threaten a body on my butterfly.
I'm going to write that in and I'll put it in. I'll be back.
That's got till the 17th.
Be
So
right back.
the other reason why I'm really enjoying showing people how to convert existing options positions instead of closing them is the PDT rule. You can avoid it because if you buy an option or a credit spread, you can literally trap profit by selling a strike or 2 further out of the money. against your existing long position. So you can do that with a single leg. You can do that with a spread. In some cases, you can build an iron butterfly that way, but that's a lot more complex. Stick to the easy stuff. Go with debit spreads because they're very risk averse, and then work on learning how to convert those into butterflies. It just saves you a lot of grief having to deal with that PDT, and also if you're smart with it, it'll grow a small account so quickly that you won't have to worry about PDT for very long. I mean, you guys seen some of the percentages I put up on the board here. It's crazy to see those kind of numbers, but it happens. And I went from having an account well under PDT to well over PDT in a very short time doing those. It counts as a transaction, but it's in the same direction. So when you convert like a debit spread into a butterfly, for instance, you're selling one more short leg and buying another long leg further out of the money. So it's the same direction. And because it's a different strike price, it counts as a different purchase or a different sell. Okay, 20. Trying to get the other end of this thing.
See that steel doji on a 5-minute? Did you have one on SPY?
No. I do have a big old bar that looks like it wants to retrace.
That green hammer doji there. Before that big green candle, that's a steel doji on
That one right there.
on the
So-
MES.
One thing I was explaining yesterday with these diamond patterns, and it just proved itself again. When it breaks the channel, this angular support line from the compression side and this angular resistance line from the compression side opens up, and it's like having a giant liquidity zone, but price doesn't want to be there. It runs right to the other side. No matter how far away this diamond is, it'll usually do that. As time goes on, it'll go wider, and if price moves back across it, it'll go faster and farther.
That's why I don't read fundamentals, Ashty Sharp or 007, and I just read the chart because all that stuff just confuses the trader, in my opinion. So I just trade the chart as opposed to looking at what fundamentals are going to say. And so most of what I trade are indexes and SPY, and occasionally I'll trade a Tesla or Amazon for a spread, but I go by what the chart tells me, not by what their news tells me.
There you go. Oh, I got too much reading to do. Hold on 1 second. It's kind of cool how Victoria used to call these the fish. It just looks like a fish. Yeah, I drew a fish. There's your fins. Whoops. Call this the money fish instead of the diamond fish.
This is why, this was a morning where we were hearing a lot of bearishness, not necessarily from us,
Right.
but just in the general news and the sentiment. Everybody's expecting this to turn over.
Oh,
And you
I've
see
noticed.
it's not so far.
And did you hear about that Burry dude?
The guy that got what is this, Adonai, the guy from overseas?
No, the guy who basically is the subject of the movie The Big Short, I guess. He
Ew.
he tweeted "sell" and then closed his Twitter account. He's like freaking out. This rally is not real. Sell it. That's an emotional move, man.
That's
And
panic.
yes, and I gotta say, the dude got lucky once. He saw it coming. He did a bunch of fundamental analysis. He caught the Big Short, made it happen. That whole 2008 real estate crisis. It was really easy to catch. I will say, like, back before then, I was working in a bank. I saw it coming 4 years before it happened. I knew what was up. I wish I would have been trading then, because I would be probably a multi-billionaire just like him right now. But the point is, you can't base your logic on one really successful trade. You got to do the work. You can get lucky once and make a big killing and still not have a clue what you're doing. And we've proven that time and time again with a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And until you actually learn price action and you learn how to read a chart and how to trade it, you're just, gambling. So when you get guys like that who are, suddenly swaying a lot of weight, saying things about the market, don't listen to them. They don't have a clue what they're doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe someone's kind of influencing them to say these things. You got all these alleged professional analysts and all this crap. They start talking crap about the market and say, oh man, this is doom and gloom. It's going to, this recession. I don't give a damn what those guys say. I look at the chart. Chart tells me everything I need to know. I can ignore every one of those a-holes. And I'm getting emotional about it by saying that. But, look at all these people that were talking smack about Tesla. They were crapping all over Tesla. And I'm just like, no, chart tells me go long, 50% retracement on deck, hit it. And dude, was I wrong? I mean, it's almost there now. That green line is my 50% retracement. That's 207. That's just 50% retracement of a descending channel. Simple price action, guys. And, you got all these freaking tooth-chipping chuckleheads saying this, oh gosh, it's going to go down below $100 a share and just free fall. Okay, here's your free fall. Hope you guys are happy you shorted it. Rant's over. No more emotion. We just traded a chart.
It's okay. Sometimes you just gotta let it out.
Yeah, Don't let it ruin your day. That is for sure.
That's a pretty soft rant.
I guess so. I can get more angry.
Right. You did all right. No, I don't think anyone's offended.
But the lesson is just don't listen to anybody. Don't follow the crowd. Just watch that chart. That chart cannot lie. It can't. It always tells the truth. It will show you what's happened before and what's likely to happen again. All you got to do is know how to read it. And it's as simple as price action. It really is. And it takes place on all time frames, almost exactly the same way. And I don't care what anybody says about price action. It works.
Yeah, it's called contrary. It's something, what y'all talking about when the market, everybody's expecting the market to do one thing and you kind of go do the opposite. There's a term for that actually in the book that Bud got. Yeah, contrarian. John J. Murphy talks about that. For me, it's just like, after being a new trader and everybody be, getting there all excited about something, and you go in get excited about something's going to be moving, or it's going to be this, it's going to be that, it's going to be that. After a little while, it's like, just turn off the noise and look at what the chart's telling you. Once you get to know the chart, it won't lie to you.
Exactly. I was reading that comment about the ISM numbers came in high, showing that service demand has increased.
Yeah.
It has.
Yeah.
I was taught a lesson about that a long, long time ago when I used to, hang out at this bar that was popular for CSUN College, and essentially there was this old guy there, and he was like retired 10 times over. The guy was wealthy. He just liked to hang out in a bar and just people watch and be a barfly, Cool old dude. He kind of reminded me of the Ziggy Zaggy dude from the Man Show. I mean, he could chug a beer that fast. So the guy was full of wisdom, and he happened to be retired from being a floor trader. And I got to know him and talk to him a lot, and just got miles of wisdom out of him. But he probably had the dirtiest sense of humor I've ever heard in my life. And he told this in a very dirty joke, and I'm not going to repeat the joke here, especially live on YouTube, because it's definitely not PG, but it's funny as hell. It boils down to, the difference between retail and service. Retail is a lot of freaking moving parts. You got to source inventory, move into inventory, itemize it, stay adjusted and ahead of prices, swinging around. It's a headache, and you always got to replenish that retail. You got to always replenish that inventory, and it is such a pain to maintain. It can be very successful. Don't get me wrong; it's very successful. But the one thing that's in the market that is an absolute that really takes a lot of that legwork out of it is service. If you sell service, you don't have to worry about replenishing inventory. You're selling your time, and that's the whole thing. You're selling your time. Whether it's a laborious thing or a thing where you're sitting in a cubicle, you're selling service. Your service is to your employer, or if you own a business that goes out and washes windows for all I care, it's a service. There's really not much inventory to maintain. I mean, yeah, you got to make some window washing fluid, but more of your time is spent in service, and that's per hour of work. And you can do it again and again and again. You don't have to really worry about there being a drought in that job market, as long as it's the service that's needed. The old adage is, if you are unsuccessful in life, go be a plumber, because you'll be at least job secure. You'll have work forever. There's no time I could ever think of where a plumber would not be needed. So
or a time when they don't have a lot of money in their pockets.
Right. Yeah, they're always very well off. So
they handle everybody's crap.
You look at the service industry and put that into a perspective of an indicator of market flows, and the numbers were high, showing that demand has increased, and the market's going higher. Well, those dollars come back into the economy, and those service dollars that are earned, they buy things, and buying things moves inventory and moves the market. So, hands down, if all else fails in life, sell service. Kind of an abrupt way to end it, but the joke is much funnier. I'll tell it at some point, maybe in private when there's a select audience, but it would be quite offensive to some. It involves a prostitute and a drug dealer, so I mean it's.
We'll do that one later.
Yeah, we'll do that one later.
I feel like you're too deep. Like you got to do it now.
No, I can't.
It's like people like they bring up. Oh well, I was gonna tell you, but never mind. And then
Yeah.
they keep-
He can't do it on YouTube though. He can't.
Nope, I can't. We'll get shadow banned instantly.
We got it. We can do that stuff in Discord when we're not recording on YouTube.
There you go. And I'll just tell everybody, if you're easily offended, mute your mic or mute your headset.
Looked like a pullback on the 1 minute, man. Had Red Hammer in the wicked into that 8.
I thought Amazon was gonna form a nice M formation here on the 1 minute chart, but it kind of
creeping
did away
along.
with that.
Gave you a double bottom instead.
And dude, the spread on that, the price on that spread of the Tesla butterfly I have just keeps getting wider, man. If it breaks 200, I might just up and close it, because it's got expiration at the 17th. And if it gets to the body too soon, I might be a little bit worried about it running me over and going backwards. So,
Yeah.
got to be careful with that. That's where you
Yeah.
start to look at managing it.
It's looking a little weird right now.
It's still got some sick amount of profit in there, so I'm not knocking it, but I got to make sure I keep that profit.
Oh, it hasn't hit 200 yet.
Not quite.
Oh.
98.99, dude, and then there's a doji party,
Look at that.
but it's still trending, and it can still go up.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna cancel that order.
There goes my screen. Come on back on. Why did you go? What do you mean you're in standby mode? I just lost the screen.
Did you bump the HDMI cord or something?
I have no idea. Let me see what's going to happen here. I might have to restart.
There we go. I'm adjusting my attempt at a condor here on SPY. I've got time to work it out. If price range is here, cool. I can get that call side eventually opened. If not, I can just leave the put side alone, and eventually it'll come back to value, and I can do things with it, unless you know, price runs away from it. Either way, it's such a low risk. I'm not gonna care.
Here we go. I got it back.
It'll act as a short-term hedge for a couple other long positions I have. There we go. Break over. Break over, you bum. All right, I got to catch up on comments in the chat here because I'm missing out.
All right. Let me go write some stuff.
Yeah, I've been treating every rally in this whole market scenario as a bear market rally, and it's been successful to maintain legged into neutral positions over and over and over again on SPY, no matter what. If it moves in a certain range and I am cost effective enough with the 8-to-1 or better ratio, I kill it no matter what it does. And if it goes sideways, I just roll it into a different position and, you know, take a small loss. It's so risk averse to run these little spreads. It's just not, it almost feels like it's not ethical to do it, you know. All right, we're back under the angular support from that rising channel side of the diamond output. And this is where we get that liquidity zone where price can move fast. So if this starts to trend down, we might just end up in a range right above this liquidity zone here, the shaded area. And it falls right in the middle of the angular support here and angular resistance here. Previous angular resistance here.
I'm ready.
We're ready for movement. And it can bounce here. It's not out of that channel enough to really be significant yet. It hasn't made a full-on break, but it can. Yeah, I'm already in the put side of my attempted condor on SPY here.
Wow, look at Amazon go
Yeah, that's
straight down.
timber. Like I said though, it'll be fast if it moves between these two zones. I'm trying to catch up on chat and I'm just like all over the place here. Hang on. Yes, contrarian trading is a pretty interesting concept, but man, when it works, it works.
Mm-hmm.
And when we follow the chart, half the time we're contrarian to opinion anyway.
I got something going on with my stuff. I'm going to have to log out and come back in, y'all.
Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of all three there, Paul, on our YouTube channel. Paul Brown said that makes perfect sense if you're a day trader, a swing trader, or an investor. Well, I'm kind of all three. I just took something that Sig says all the time, tooth chipping, or they're chipping their teeth. I put my own spin on it, like chuckleheads, tooth chipping chuckleheads. That paints a picture there, see? Yeah, I bet you the weather is messing with his internet there. To have a monitor go down is a little weird, though.
-4 Fahrenheit right now in Canada.
Just a little bit chilly. I think the coldest day I experienced in Montana was it was like 24 below. And that night it was really windy, and we had a lot of dry powdery snow. So like some of the drifts were like 8 feet tall, I swear. This is massive. All right, this is that rolling top look that I often talk about. And there's key zones in that thing. This can actually be bullish. Just wait. Got your little rounding bottom happening here on the 5-second chart, but look where it is. It's in a position where it can be a continuation pattern. This is our trend.
So, looking at Amazon, it looks like it doesn't want to come below that like 105.97 mark. That's the third time it's gone down and tested it and gone back up.
It's kind of threatening it, and my spread on that is actually starting to make some sense to possibly close the credit spread side and just run with the debit spread side. I just want to see it break that range before I'm convinced, though. So I've got some size into that that butterfly, and it's way out of the money. It's like up there at 140, 145, and 150.
So what's the benefit of trading the options that are like that far out of the money?
The percentage in the returns. So I opened the long side like stupid cheap on those. I mean, no one would even consider running those. I paid for the long contracts. I paid 7 cents a piece for them. And yesterday, when I posted that that massive percentage, that was the return on those long contracts, long spreads. And when you do that in size and you get that kind of percentage, it pays the bills quick. And then what I did is right up to the bell, I closed all the long positions going into earnings, and I had already captured a bunch of profit by converting some of that position into a butterfly. So the butterfly is selling a credit spread against a debit spread, and when you time it like that on a swing, you can lock in your profit to where you theoretically cannot lose. You've essentially achieved the ability to trade that into a neutral position and lock in the profit between the credit spread and the debit spread. And this is completely different than the way a lot of people trade. A lot of people will trade at the money or in the money, or a few strikes out. And yes, your options will have a lot more stability and a lot less chance of being destroyed by a lot of different volatility moves in the market. But what I am doing is I'm looking for the most risk-averse position possible that has the highest potential for a high percentage return. And if you guys dig through our YouTube channel, I did a little video on the dollar wide and $2 wide SPY spreads that I've been day trading with and eventually started swing trading with and condoring with, and also converting those into butterflies in some cases.
It works.
It is incredible because, like, you go into a $2 wide spread and you risk 4 cents. It's got 3 to 5 days to expiration, and suddenly it's trading at 8 cents. That's 100% return. And with enough liquidity in SPY options, which you have plenty of, you can easily get in and out of that position for a massive amount of return percentage with size. You do those 100 or 200 at a time, it's going to pay the bills, and it's going to be easy. You go into a dollar wide and like literally I had dollar wides where I was paying $1 for them, and I would close them at 2 in some cases. That's 100% return, and sometimes that would take minutes. You can go day trade those, and in some cases where you've got a range on SPY where it just kind of turns out to be where you can go and open the call side on a dip and the put side on a rise and lock it into a condor. The next day, all it has to do is move $3 or so in either direction, and it will have enough profit to walk over the loss on the losing side because it's $1, and you get $3 on the winning side. You've made 100% return on one side and a 50% return overall, even if you still hold the losing side. So it just doesn't matter. And if you're quick enough, you can Spartan off the losing side real quick and at least get some money back out of it before the other side runs. And then ride the other side on momentum until it runs out of gas. And sometimes you'll net like, that one day I had closed one at 600% and then watched it go to about 3,000% afterwards. It went into money on a dollar wide out of the money that I paid $1 for, like literally a penny. So I mean that can happen. And when you get these FOMC events and you time it right, getting into those legs, dude, you can make some killer plays with very minimal risk.
That's good stuff. And we got another one next month, right?
Yeah, that's the one that is kind of going to be pivotal, they say. Although this one was supposed to be pivotal. So we've hugged that bottom channel line here, and we've set up a trend here. We got 3 measured moves in this. You got one here, and one here. If it's gonna tip over, it'll likely hit right around here. If not, it'll shoot straight to that regression line. It can go parabolic at that point. I gotta look at Baba and what was the other one? Baidu. B-I-D-U.
Yeah, I was hoping the M formation would put Amazon a little bit more of a run down, but it didn't quite hit.
Yeah, it's just kind of hanging there. Yeah, it's kind of a slow grinder, but that's already made 3 bullish measured moves. 3. This would be a breakover. I would almost be a little leery going long here on Baidu. But I might consider a bear position down to about 113, which would be about 50% of this trend. If I catch a short-term reversal here, that's what I would consider doing. And certainly take this with a grain of salt. This is not like financial advice here. This is what I can see on technical analysis.
What do you mean I'm not supposed to blindly follow you?
Right? Well, I mean, you know, there was a time where somebody sued McDonald's over not labeling the lid hot.
Right.
So that was the old lady that spilled the coffee on her.
Yeah, yeah.
She didn't even want to sue McDonald's. She was just like, I spilled my coffee. That like it's my fault. And her kids are the ones that made her go through with the lawsuit.
Oh gosh. As your kids
Yeah,
were.
there was some other motives there at play.
Yeah, yeah. Like cha-ching. It's like, hey ma.
No,
you know-
that's a different. Cha-ching was Wendy's, not McDonald's.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right. Cha-ching.
I read the other day that some guy is suing a girl for keeping him in the friend zone.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
mental
heard
anguish.
that.
Damn, dude.
It's for $2 million or something.
What the hell?
I guarantee you it's something to do with his mental health.
Yeah. You know, there are many, many easier ways to make money than sue people. Just saying.
Price action.
Yeah, we do it
Yeah,
every day.
just blindly follow Jeremy. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
there you go.
Don't blindly follow anybody. Third touch. This is the third
Oh,
touch.
yeah. Head
I don't know
found
if
in
you see
chicken
that.
nuggets. I remember that one. We could go on and on about these frivolous lawsuits, but we're not frivolous here. Ah, yes, right in that
Touches on the
zone.
1 minute.
This is where we could get that breakover, guys. Watch this angular. If I can find it again. There it is. Get out here. No, dang it.
It's like watching a kid with a snotty nose and it's just hanging there.
Right?
It's got to drop. Come on.
Give me that drip. All right, so Baidu, best I can tell, it may continue on. I would say it has a chance of hitting that 155 area for retracement for this descending megaphone here. From there, I'm not so sure it's going to... Well, it's already kind of wicked it anyway, isn't it? It's just
Great
not
job, Ricardo.
an equity I follow very much, so...
Thank you.
And then Baba.
Proud of you, man.
Hell yeah, it's
Proud
nice
of
work,
Jeremy,
dude.
too. All right.
You killed
No,
that
it's just-
entire
it's
Tootsie
just-
Roll.
It's just keeping the profits is the problem.
That won't be a
Well,
problem
that's,
for long.
that's part of the training.
Yep.
Part of the
Step
training.
1, learn to make money. Step 2, learn to keep money.
Yeah.
I see we have Chewbacca in the room. Were you down here for the parade, Chewbacca's?
Chewbacca's.
It's a parade crew that
Oh,
goes down the French Quarter, and they
Gotcha.
call themselves the crew of Chewbacca's, and we spell crew down here for Mardi Gras, Krewe. We spell things different anyway.
that's one of those who learned you how to spoke moments.
That's exactly right. Well, I told you before, we got all this influence down here in the French, Spanish, and the French and Spanish were here for a long time. and you know, Italians, everybody. So everybody speaks backwards because, you know, when the French people started to learn English, they tried to do a direct
Right.
translation.
Just didn't work.
So let me done told you a story there, huh?
It's like, we're gonna name this Troubadour. Who know how to spell TRXOI? You know?
Now, go is not spelled Geaux, but because EUAUX has the O sound, we put that for Go Tigers, GEAUX. We make up words.
That's awesome.
All right, this could be a double top, or
So
it could continue.
a lot of retracement targets have been met in kind of the Chinese market space. Baba there went descending megaphone, 50% retraced it, bam, right there. Target met. Pulling back now. Sometimes when that happens, you can get this consolidation point. It might continue trending on up. Don't count it as a reversal yet until you see the whites of its eyes, so to speak.
Count it in reversal. See the whites of its eyes.
That's a weekly chart there, though. That's a hell of a move. It took forever. Look how
Leonidas.
it's not the best price action on that. It's kind of slow, grindy. But in my opinion, it met its bull target. So I mean, that was trade over, measured move found. Totally cool. I might wait on that one before I jump in it. Just what I'm saying. It may continue to run down to this angular support area around $100, but we'll see where it
Oh,
goes.
that's a 1 minute clock. Okay, there we are.
Learned about that in a law course. Oh, nice. One was actually permanently scarred due to the coffee near boiling. I know they served their coffee hotter than hell back in those days.
Well, that's so that way they can clean their machines without actually having to clean them.
Right. It boiled itself clean. Tesla creeping up again.
Yeah. I like my Swiss Army knife.
Did it get you out of a bind?
Man, it is great. It's just that quadrant tool. It's a
Yeah.
freaking Swiss Army knife.
It really is.
I am blown away every day. I can get the bullish and bearish arguments.
Now I got a
from the
question
gate.
for you. Can you turn a Fibonacci tool into
No.
a quant tool?
No,
That
No.
doesn't work the same.
no, it doesn't work the same. We were looking at that the other day.
Because on TradingView, I don't think there's a quant tool.
No, the only thing about the quant tool, and I'll say this again, is it just shortens my measurements. I was doing these measurements before with shadow boxes. You can do it with boxes. As a matter of fact, it helped me get really good at using my mouse, was doing it with boxes. You can do it with boxes and trend lines and channels. It just takes long. I mean, like Jeremy and I were fooling around yesterday, goofing off, and he said, "Dude, you just did with one click what took me 7 to do." And it was just like, and that's when I realized, oh, it's just the Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, this has an
Because
attachment.
it gives you, it gives you angular, and you can reverse it to the other side, and it gives you a pyramid. It'll give you the 4 quadrants of the day. It's it's pretty heavy. We're going to do more about this on the 12th
Oh yeah, we're
Gonna
putting
do
some stuff together.
pre-Super Bowl webinar.
There we
That's
go.
on TOS or Webull?
That one's
This is on
TOS.
TOS. This is on TOS. We're going to try to figure out where, how we get it. We can ask Webull to do it. Start writing them and say, hey, man, y'all got to give us a quadrant tool.
Right.
Just something that you can measure, you can set to measure the 100% and the 50% retracements and so forth. And then you can work on a trade station, I think, has one, a trading view.
You know
But they
what?
probably call
I
it something different.
happen to be a beta tester for Webull. I might just go ahead and message them with that. That's a good
You
idea.
message them and say, hey, can you give us some kind of tool that measures the quadrant?
I looked into it on TradingView, but they only use Fibonacci's.
I have to see what TradeStation is. If you see again in that Al Brooks webinar that we have on our next level library, you'll see him use something without numbers and anything, and he's measuring. And as he's doing it, he says, "Yeah, you get the measurement from here to there. That's 100%. This is the 50%." And he had like 3 or 4 lines on his, and I know he used TradeStation, so I know they have something like it. It might even be something he designed. I don't know.
Good eye with that. Looking at that liquidity zone on Amazon there. That is a liquidity
Dang
zone.
good eye.
I
Jeremy,
pulled it off my chart earlier, but it's still there.
Jeremy, any updates on TradingView and Bullish Bears?
So we're still waiting to hear back from them on what to do on this. We want to essentially just feature them to where we kind of convert most of our instructional videos and our basic material with their application, because it's awesome that it integrates with so many different brokerages, and it's also kind of world recognized. It's very intuitive for everyone else to use. So it's like having a standardized system in place.
Yeah, it's very popular.
So we're kind of looking to be a little bit more than just an affiliate partner with them. We want to welcome their reps to come in and do like webinars with us and all sorts of stuff. So that's the idea we're having.
I
with
like
it.
TradingView. I use it for a lot of charting and stuff.
Yeah.
Does it have anything like the Quant tool on there? Anything
I
you can?
know.
You can
I mean,
you
they do Fibonacci's, and you can adjust them to whatever levels you want. So you can create your own anything with TradingView.
Yeah.
It's very useful.
I
right.
hope you guys can figure it out.
That just
Do
broke
that.
that Angular. Right
Yeah.
there.
Does TradingView do you can trade right from the chart? Is it like too many steps for futures, or is it easy?
I only use Sierra charts for futures.
Okay.
I trade off the DOM and nothing else.
There you go. Hey,
I use it differently. I have the order screen there, and I use buy and sell, and I do bracket orders and stuff like that. It's very, very good.
market alert. Something big's about to happen. I got to go let some coffee. I'll be right back.
It's like, where? Market alert? What are you talking about?
I know. That's what I thought. I was like, wait, what? No.
Well, every time one of us has to leave, something happens.
It's true. It looks like we're fine.
Good morning, everyone.
That turn.
Good morning, Ryan. Yeah, it looks like we're trying to roll over now.
If this is truly a turn, we should go down pretty hard and fast. But it doesn't look like it wants to give it up.
Nope.
Silly
Stone,
market.
Yes, sir.
I heard you regarding that you have a problem with TOS regarding the memory.
Oh, yeah, it's just that it takes up a lot. I do fine. It's not the toss so much as it is when I have to stream, and I have to use two different programs to stream for Bullish Bears on my computer, and I have toss, so that all of that puts a lot of strain on my laptop.
Oh, okay. I
Toss
thought
by
that,
itself doesn't. When I started streaming, I started having problems.
but you need to clean the memory on TOS in a regular
The
basis.
garbage.
Yes,
Mhm.
yes.
I did that
So
a
you
little
know about
earlier.
it.
Yeah, I do. Thank you. I went and did
Right.
that.
Yeah.
But my main
always
problem is that I have too much on this little computer, and I had got it originally just to run TOS. I didn't get it to moderate. So here we are. It works though. I got a cooling fan.
Trade and Zoom or anything. I have two separate machines and two separate data feeds for one dedicated for trading, and then so if you're teaching and streaming at the same time as you're trading, it's really tough.
Oh, yes. So I have I keep my Tradovate on another computer. But yeah, it's pretty tough. So I need to kind of I need to update. I need to get a big one now. My Mac, it didn't like TOS didn't like my Mac.
I got an Alienware desktop for my trading, and it's been great. It's like
Yeah, the gaming computers are great, huh?
Yeah.
I have a Lenovo ThinkPad, built for gamers. But it's a laptop and it's got 32 gigs, which, like I said, it runs great. But now that I started streaming, it's a little challenge. It was getting hot, so I went out and got a cooling fan or cooling pad. So I've got that it sits on top of it now, and it seems to be doing fine. But technology is half the battle in trading.
If you're using a machine every single day, all day long, probably have to replace it every year, every 2 years. It's the cost of doing business.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
And computers get so outdated so fast every year.
Yeah.
Like that goes by, your computer's that much more outdated.
Yep. Time for a new one. This is it's good. We've had some good price action though, and you know, it's nice to have so many different views in the room, points of views, and different methods. I like that. That is fun. I'm a best practice guy. Take a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
We're growing.
As long as we don't grow out and expand our waistband, I'm fine. We are. We got a lot of good stuff coming. We're working on it. It's been a growth thing. It's funny, you know, being here and to watch Jeremy grow from when I first met him almost 2 years ago to where he is now, and it's been really nice to watch that development. So we're kind of just creeping right now.
Same with me when I was here
Small
with all
candles.
the trading groups.
Yeah.
And now it's just one. I think it's much better now.
Yeah, get a little bumpy every now and then. We had that, you know, the pandemic. We had just everybody was home. Everybody was trading penny stocks, and all the penny stock people were going nuts over pharmaceutical and healthcare, and the pump and dumps were happening every day, and it was just a big boom, boom, boom. Not so much now, but we still have the futures. I love the futures. I think from what I heard, a lot of penny stock people like myself came to the futures. We're in the future because it's got momentum. You know, in penny stocks, it's a momentum trade thing. So adrenaline junkies, man, got to be careful of that though. Taking the emotion out of trading is the key.
My trading boring and my life exciting.
There you go. I get away from this desk every day. Thankfully, you know, the good thing about dogs is some of them you gotta walk. So my therapy is to go to the dog park and watch all the dogs play and watch my dog run and get tired, so he goes to sleep when we get home. But it's great to walk around and the exercise, the fresh air. You need that when you're in front of a computer all day long.
100%.
And I like it. I like being in front of the computer. I like watching my trades. I enjoy it. I'm not so much a set and forget it. On debit spreads, I'll do that. So I'll set and forget it. But you know, my futures, I'm plotting them out. I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Me as well.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Coming into a little wedge right now at 41.77 against angular resistance. 41.77 would be the 33% retracement on the MES on a 5-minute chart from the open to that high. The open to the high is always a good measurement to find your 66% retracements, your 33% retracements, and 50% retracements. Because when you have that little rally like that, either upside or the downside, you're going to usually have a pullback of some kind. I pay attention to the 20 moving average and price's location to it. When it gets too far above it, it wants to come back to it. And same thing when it gets too far below it, it wants to come back up to it.
Almost caught another 6 point on that little pullback there.
Good deal.
Nice. My put spreads are starting to catch some wind.
Awesome. We hammered right into the 66% retracement of a pivot to a pivot on SPY on that 1 minute. I think I put that picture up there earlier.
That's a good question on our YouTube channel there. Wiz is asking, what is a good, fair computer to start with? I actually went with a gaming computer that was pre-made. It's like $700. And that
We
thing
were having a
kicks
computer
ass.
talk when you were gone.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I
And
got a little Asus ZenBook for traveling that I put my trading software on just so that I can manage, I don't try to trade so much when I'm traveling, but that's a great little computer if you have a monitor that you can connect it to at home. It's pretty powerful.
Oh yeah. No, it's great when you can have multiple screens off of
Cheap.
a laptop like that. And yeah, pretty inexpensive. For me, I needed to be able to run my trading apps. I needed to be able to upload video and stream, and at the same time manage a bunch of other stuff. So I needed some real estate for monitors and just a basic gaming computer with 3 video outputs worked out great for me. I need to probably upgrade that a little bit. I'm going to probably upgrade the GPU and go with a 4 monitor output, and then I can chain a couple other ones on just for display off of the USB attachment. But for now, I'm running 3 monitors, and this thing works great for what I need it for. Doesn't miss a beat, never bogs down or anything. It's just an i5 processor too. It's not really anything fancy.
Yeah, when I hear that was it Al Brooks says he just trades on a laptop, that blew my mind. One screen.
I didn't even start trading on a computer till 2020.
Wow.
I traded on my phone up until that point. Well,
Yeah, I started on a Mac and it sucked, and so I had to go out and do research, and that's when I started finding out. And as a matter of fact, I asked in here a couple times, same thing, question that's going on there. What's a good computer? And the gaming computers these days, I think, was the answer.
it's the best bang for
Sorry,
the buck,
Jeremy.
and it's absolutely the best bang for the buck. They're pre-built, they're made for speed and for graphics, and it's kind of what you need.
So we got a hammer on the 5-minute chart that hammered into the right above the 33% retracement of that move.
Got Amazon creeping
And
up.
yep, and we opened up on the other side of the quadrant of the angular resistance. The triangles, man. Wow.
Yes. No problem.
It's really cool is after you, and some of y'all out there that have been trading for a long time, this, that the longer you do this, sometimes you don't even need to move the trend line anywhere. You
No.
just see it. You know where it is.
And then eventually you get to trade naked. You just turn off all the lines and trade.
I'm
naked
leaving on
chart.
that note. The market's going to move. I got to go do something. I'll be right back.
All right, man.
I do have to be right back.
Gotcha. Before long, you get to being able to just see what's happening with just a naked chart. And eventually you get there, but the idea of drawing on your chart while you're learning, especially while you're learning price action, is to train your eye to pick up what you need to see on the chart. So like we can see there's a slight range expansion here. There was range contraction to range expansion here. You got a trend line that goes up this way. It's pretty easy to see all that without actually having it on your chart. And that's the whole point of drawing is you get that muscle memory where you can just glance at a chart like, I know what that setup is. I know where it's likely to go. And that's the whole point. You're literally trading on the probability of if this, then that. Pretty easy to see once you get that muscle memory down from a lot of screen time. Every once in a while, practice that. Trade naked. Go look at your chart and just have no indicators on it, just the candles. Hell, I know people who can trade a naked line chart, for that matter. Can you imagine? All you're looking for is, little geometric shapes anyway. There's your diamond. It looks like a little triple top. It pulled back, it met its target for base, and popped up. It's easy enough to see even on a line chart. You go look at the daily chart once in a while with a line chart, and things start to really make sense. Like, oh, you can see all the little topping patterns when you have the line chart on. There's a triple top right there, plain as day, beautiful triple top. It's harder to see with candles, but when you look at it with the line chart, it's like, it just sticks right out. So when it comes down to finding your price action and learning how to master it, that will help you. Sometimes if you can't see it with candles, it's too noisy for you. If you're looking at a naked chart, switch to a line chart. Just briefly. I mean, you can change it back and forth all you want. Takes a click. Throw my moving averages back on, because I see something here. And moving averages are great. They're important. They give you a pretty quick idea of when sentiment changes. But again, they're not fully necessary. But they help. It's sort of like training wheels.
Oh,
And
whoa, 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 whoa! Did you just say training wheels?
training wheels.
I just sat back down. I've been thinking. I was just thinking about all the moving averages and everything I use as training wheels. What was that? What you were talking about?
Yeah.
Oh
And then
my gosh! Get out of my head!
you can throw some Bollinger Bands on there. That really helps you see price action without drawing. You can see exactly where the trend is changing. You can see where the sentiment is changing. You can see where the momentum and volume is changing without even having volume bars.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a volatility
if I could
indicator.
go back and start again, I probably would have started with Bollinger Bands. It's your
Yeah.
fault.
Best damn training
weren't-
wheels ever.
You weren't in the penny stock room every day, so I had to learn like the Williams Alligator instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, those Bollinger Bands are freaking awesome.
They are
The-
amazing,
that-
especially for
yeah.
learning price action.
Yeah, and then using the 8 in conjunction with it. So when you see that 820 cross,
Yeah.
man, that there's so many ways to track price. It's like I'm gonna use this one. You got to
And-
find one and zero in on it.
Exactly. The one that works for you is the important part. It may work for 100 other people and not you. Find something that does work for you.
Right. That's why I like price action above all the techniques and everything to do the market, because it has the least thing. It's one thing to focus on, and you can narrow it down to where it's just a few things to focus on. And I don't need to sit now and do like when I first started. I had subscriptions to everything. I had this new subscription. I had this subscription to this thing, and this thing, and I had all these different indicators on there and everything. Yada yada yada. And you go look at this chart. Go look at this chart. Look at UVXY. Look at the VIX. Well, the VIX is going down, so SPY is going up. Well, wait a minute. I can just look at SPY and know what it's doing. I don't have to take my eyes and move them too much, so I can focus. And especially when you're new, because when you're making those trades and you're starting to get in, well, then the emotion kicks in, and now you got a whole lot of stuff that happens. And if you got too much to focus on, you go nuts.
It's distracting. Like when you start to see
for
all
me.
the lines stack up on the chart that I draw, it's a little annoying. Every once in a while, I'll just delete them. I'll start
Yeah.
over.
I did. I started over. As a matter of fact, I don't use those charts as much anymore.
Nope. Now you just use your little quant tool. That's all you need. Literally.
Well,
You know?
it's my Swiss Army knife, yeah, because it gives me my levels. I've got it set to where I can get levels, and so I don't have to use the shadow boxes anymore. I was doing that. I would sit there and put the 3 shadow boxes out, and then I'd have to go and mark the price levels, and so I knew what the price was, not just wow, that's a shadow box. It doesn't
Right.
tell me the price.
And then
Or you hover over it and it tells you the range, and so now that's what I like about this. I've been able to arrange this thing. Basically, it's my shadow box.
and then the Bollinger Bands are kind of a unique thing to start with, and that's kind of where I did start. I do things a little weird, a little different than most people I know. The time I picked up Bollinger Bands was I was part of a Facebook group called Swing Trading for Beginners. And in fact, I'm still an admin there. I was made an admin after I was able to start teaching and helping others there. And it was at a point where the founder of the page, and it's a private page, but every once in a while they open it up. The founder of the page was all about the guy still uses a lot of different indicators. He uses like PVI and a whole bunch of different stuff. And it's cool to know all that stuff because it makes you a better teacher. It also makes it so that any individual can come in and be like, well, I can pick through these 30 different indicators that you're using here and find one that works for me. So what it comes down to is I go in there and I show up with Bollinger Bands, and they're like, why are you using Bollinger Bands? And he couldn't quite understand how I used Bollinger Bands. And it was just simple. It was simply just knowing when the trend was likely to change direction. And the Bollinger Bands are a volatility indicator more than anything. Here we look at the 5-minute chart. Let me turn my drawings off so you can see the damn things. You know, you got a nice tight pinch, price moved. It eventually broke one way or the other. And here you have a nice wide set of Bollinger Bands on a 5-minute chart, but they're starting to curl towards each other. Things are compressing and condensing. So volatility's falling off. And you can see it on a 1-minute chart too. You can see tight bands. So the way they work is you get a 20 period moving average, and it just counts 20 candles back for average. That's what that blue line is. That's the center Bollinger Band. Upper and lower is just 2 deviations up and down. So you got 2 deviations above the 20, 2 deviations below the 20. So when you start to see volatility changing, or you start to see price consolidate, you'll get a little pinch. The Bollinger Bands get tighter. Volatility in price is falling off. So here we've got periods of sideways. Falling off, bands are getting tighter. There's not as much volume in this move. So we're essentially watching the market wait for the next trend. And then you start looking at the 8 period. It gives you a really quick indication. Just before a break is about to happen, you'll always see price cross that 8 period. And when you see the 8 period cross the 20, you'll get a direction change really quick. Like back here, you see this cross up right here. It lagged the trend, but you were able to take and trade the follow through just on that cross there. And then the upper band tells you about where the limit of range is on this particular trend. So when you start to see price poke out of the upper band, you almost certainly tend to catch a price pullback when it does that. Sometimes you'll have candles that are way up out of that band and they just keep going. That happens too, but when you start to see wicks on candles and it poked through the upper band, you'll almost certainly see a pullback. Knowing that you can trust this trend to continue is going to be contingent right on that 8 period. See, price came back, tested the 8 period, kept creeping on up. The moment it broke the 8 period is just slightly after the band started coming together. See how that curves over? Well, the lower band was still strong. So price broke the 8 period. That was a quick indication that it was likely. Boom, you got your bar through the 8 period. Tested the middle band, the 20 period. Think of this like a moving pivot. And price held it, bounced off of it. Cool, trend's continuing. And then all of a sudden you have your bands opening up. There's a little bit more inflow. Price went up, rode that upper band. Tested the 8. There's your reversal. You got your wick right out of the top of the band. Price won't go any higher. All your candle bodies are lining right up with the same zone. And then all of a sudden your volatility fell off. That was where trend change happened. You got your 8 period below. Price went back down. Here's a short-term reversal on the bottom side. Price went back up. Anytime you see price touch a band or touch a center band, usually something happens. And anytime you see the bands contract, usually something bigger is going to happen. Every time you see the bands expand, something bigger is already happening. That's all they are. It's just a volatility indicator. It's up to you to determine what it's telling you for what is about to happen.
Sorry, Jeremy, say that again about the Bollinger Bands. Because they're coming back together now, so they're quite wide. That means something has happened and the volatility is dying down then, yeah? If they're narrowing.
Right. And then
Wow, I didn't know that. Thanks.
here on the 1-minute chart, we can see it's narrowing, but we're also in a consolidation period. Range expanded. Now it's contracting.
Yep.
So this is one of those rounding tops I love talking about. It looks like it's going to be bearish. And if you watch what the Bollinger Bands tell you, it'll tell you when it's not going to be bearish. So I'll keep those on for a minute.
How do the Bollinger Bands give you that impression?
Just because we have volatility falling off. If this was going to be a reversal, we would start to see them widen quite dramatically right at the end of the setup.
So you can use Bollinger Bands narrowing or expanding to determine whether something big is about to happen then, yeah?
Right.
Or expanding.
And big is a relative term. So like, when we start seeing a doji party, we see price kind of consolidating there. The relative term is going to be something bigger than what's currently happening. You see expansion.
Sorry, yeah, my point is obviously you use it with other signs as well. You don't just use it on its own, never.
Right.
But yeah, okay, I get you. Thanks, I didn't know that.
I mean, all in all, price action is going to tell you everything you need to know. You don't necessarily need the Bollinger Bands, but it's just, as we call it, a set of training wheels so that you can get an indication, at least a visual, that tells you something's about to change. When you see them contract and then suddenly expand like this, so we got it curling out right now, we're looking at a bull trend, at least in the next couple minutes. We can go back to a longer period and verify stuff too. So like we have Bollinger Bands just starting to open up on a 2-minute, and it's just starting to curl apart on a 5-minute, although the lower is still in a bull trend. And it's just deviations from the 20 period. So it's like you're looking at essentially price kind of finding a trend at this point. And let me turn that off and show you something else real quick so you can do some comparative. What was it? SDC. You can kind of get to a next level when you start realizing that you don't necessarily need the training wheels anymore. You can find a standard deviation channel works almost as well as the Bollinger Bands, but in a different way. So here's your median price.
LRCs, the regression channel, and I use 2 of them to kind of compare to see when and which direction the immediate move is compared to a longer term move.
Right. And you can compare, that time frame just like that. So we're under median price on a 5-minute, or center where price wants to be, a balance. Right? We're slightly above it on a 15. We're into the first deviation on a 15. Go into a 1-minute chart, and this will give you the short-term trend. So we're looking at crossing back above the median. We're up against the first deviation, and we're not very volatile right now. So we're looking at Bollinger Bands that are still kind of narrow, but just starting to expand a little bit. So if I turn that off and go back to Bollinger Bands, you'll see it just starting to expand a little bit. It's not very aggressive. Back into standard, you'll see it likely is going to pull back a couple bars here and accumulate before it decides to take a trend position. You can run both at the same time and you can kind of see that it's like literally watching the market wait for something to happen. So let me turn this off and show you another thing here. Get the drawings back up. So we know that we already had a slight trend day without even knowing it. We have a news event that came into play right around here. It threatened to break down. News wasn't as bad. The market digested it, creeped back up. Now we're consolidating. We'll either finish a move and start trending to the bull side, or we will break over and reverse here and start trading to the downside.
You see what Ironclad and I did?
Oh,
Without knowing the other one was doing it.
Ah, nice. Had the same liquidity zone. The box, yes.
That is just too hilarious.
Great minds, man. Great minds.
And see, now I showed you the potential bullish and bearish moves in that chart using what I call shadow boxes. It's the rectangle tool.
All right. I feel like I'm missing something here. Hang on. It's Friday. My brain's kind of halfway wasted for the whole week of volatility. It has been an incredible week. It's like just kind of the calm after the storm for me as far as price action goes.
100% Tribe Pacer. I just hadn't found that with the fib, but I guess if you could get them on the right points, that's the thing.
So the 8
You can
that's
use all those kind of measuring tools.
good question there, Aaron, and I'm going to get to that in just a second on the 8 period. And Stone gets excited when he sees the 8 period, man.
I gotta go get my chart. Yes, I do. I do now. I went from the 9 to the 8. Here it is.
So again, with my different approach to price action, my different approach to pretty much everything I do with trading, the 8 period kind of takes precedent. And for me, it's just a much tighter and smoother appreciation of what candles are doing. So let me turn off a couple things so we can see the 8 period and talk about it. So
Yeah, I had to go get another chart.
running with just the 8 period, you could run with just the 8 period, but I like to have a 20 period on here to go and tell me when there's a transition or when there is a crossing. Like people will talk about the golden cross and all the other indicators. When this line crosses that line, this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or this is a high probability, or that's a high probability. That's all irrelevant when you're trading candle for candle on a 1-minute chart, let alone a 5-second chart. But you get a lot of really quick indication with that 8 period. And this is pretty standard. So right here on the 5-second chart, we had a break under the 8 period. As long as price stayed under it, it was bearish. Okay, it tested a few times, kept failing, kept going. You got a deviation, damn, words lost. There's a word for it, and I totally lost it. Where you get the lines running away from each other. But anyway, crossed. And you have this channel that remains
Convergence
between.
and divergence. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes, that's the word. It's Friday. My brain's gone. You guys have heard me chipping my teeth all week.
More coffee. More coffee.
Yeah, I wish I could handle more coffee. But anyway, you get the divergence and convergence here. You can kind of treat it like a secondary indicator, but it's right on your chart, and price action overlays it. So like, for the longest time, you would see me using a secondary indicator, and I happen to like FSTO, which is fast stochastic, where the hell it went. And it's pretty easy to see a signal for buy and sell on stochastic, right? But it's like just one more thing to look away from your main star of the show is your price action. So like I can tell like, okay, there's some convergence, divergence signals in that stochastic here, and know when to buy and when to sell based on what the price action is telling me, but I don't need it. In fact, I don't use it anymore because the price action is going to tell me everything I need to know with just that 8 period. And when it crosses above, okay, price is riding high on it now. There's a reversal right there on a 5-second chart. If you're real quick, you can grab that cross, ride the momentum across the 20 period. Where's the next moving pivot? The 200. Cool. Price target done. That's a quick little 3-pointer or 2-pointer. So you start trading this 5-second chart, and I wouldn't recommend trading it. I more or less recommend paper trading it first to get the idea of getting that repetition of knowing where your signals are. And this was the certain exact point to go along here, right? We'll compare it to your 1-minute chart. So when you go time frame to time frame, things change. We're just getting this party started. 1 minute says we can stay in this for a minute. You go and look at the 5-minute. Okay, hammer on the 8 period. Yeah, we're good to go. We can stay long for a minute. But it gives you an indication of when price breaks it. It's likely to stay on one side of it for a while. When it breaks back the other side, we can take our profit. Probably sooner than that, because this bar told me that was a lot of profit taking right on that move. But if I go and compare time frames, I can know exactly when to take those moves. If I'm trading a 1-minute chart, this gives me an indication of exactly when to go long and exactly when to take it off. So the 8 period importance is just knowing which side price is on. And when it breaks, it's likely to stay there for a while. When it breaks the other way, it's likely to stay there for a while. And it may be only 1 or 2 bars, it may be 4 or 5 bars, it could be 30 bars. It doesn't matter. When it crosses, the trend is your friend till the end, and when it ends, you're going to get a good indication of when it ends. Price broke it. Get out. You got this little convergence here, or you got the divergence. That's a little double bottom. This is tricky to trade. So when you get the break, you can go short. When you see that wick happen here and price starts to run back to the 8 period, hopefully you took it off by then. Wait till this shakes out. You give it a few minutes. If you were trading down a 5-second chart for verification of when to take that long and that short position, or when to switch it, you got the exact timing right by watching the shorter time frame. But when you go to trade the longer time frame, knowing this is a little double bottom, it's not going to occur to you till it's a little bit too late to get into it long, unless you're watching that 5-second chart. And it'll take me too much scrolling back on a 5-second chart to see this move, but just as an example, watching what the 8 period does with price gives you just a really quick indicator. So if you guys are like, watching me trade a 10-second chart someday when I'm back into futures, you'll know that's what I'm doing. I'm taking the data from the longer term chart to determine if I can stay in a position or not. I also know where to look for a support or a resistance zone that I can trade to in a range or even in a trend. And I'll use that shorter time chart not only to trade exact signals, but to know when that trend's about to end. Like right here. That was done. Now look at the 1 minute. We're going to come back into this range. So I could take scalps on all this choppy market price action without missing a beat, because I'm trading two different time zones or 2 different time frames, but using the same indicator. It would be kind of weird if we could overlay these charts, but when you can zoom out on a 5-second chart, you can kind of see all of this price action.
Yeah, I thought about overlaying them the other day. I said, man, can we overlay them like in video?
I mean, I guess
Photoshop.
if you scrunched it up, you could. But being able to see it would be weird. I guess you'd have to kind of have them next to each other, parallel. I mean, it
We
just
are arranging.
takes me like a 1/10 of a second to look at this chart and then flip my eye up to this chart. Sometimes the trade's over in a 1/10 of a second.
All right, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you for everything, and hope
Have a
everybody
great
does well.
day, Ricardo.
Yes, have an excellent weekend, everyone.
You
Hope
too,
you had a
man.
good morning. You too.
Thanks, have fun.
It's been awesome. Been an amazing week.
We're going to probably likely do this for a little while. It's got 3 phases of the market. You're going to break out, channel,
Yep.
or you're going to have a trading range, and we're in a trading range.
It's up, down, or sideways, baby.
Trading range is going to break the upside or the downside. It's going to give us a measured move one way or the other.
So I guess in a nutshell, the whole point of the 8 period is knowing exactly when price is likely to change direction. And it is incredibly useful for trading chop. It's very difficult to try and trade options in chop, but boy, when you start trading futures in chop, you can scalp every little stinking move, candle for candle in most cases. Dude, those sideways markets will pay you. It's just a rhythm at that point.
Let me grab a cup of coffee and I'll be back. This trading range makes me excited.
Me too. I like range. I also like watching all the credit have a time decay and pay me more. Whew. Waiting to see what Tesla's going to do here. That's a hell of a consolidation, and most of your traders with a little less experience, for lack of a nicer way to say it, are going to see that as a bull flag. And bull flags are great until they fail. And their context is always, of course, where they're at in a trend. Let's see what we got. And Tesla's not a good example of that, but it's got potential to run all the way up to that 207 target. It might even do it today if this bear flag breaks or bull flag breaks. The thing about flags, though, is they tend to cycle in threes, so you got to know where they're at in a trend. So always look at different time frames to figure out what you're looking at. This is almost a good example, although choppy. Remember the old penny stock thing? You get 3 flags in a row. The third flag's very likely to fail. We got 1.
Now you're in a training range. Watch out for the fake out.
3. Yeah, I can rip right up to resistance, maybe wick out of it a little bit, and then break over and rip our face off. Giggity. I gotta go get ready.
Gap
to,
up.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
Saw the gap?
Yeah, and that 5-second chart it popped right out.
Yeah, I gotta be cool. I'm getting a little too excited. I might not do this.
Well, you know what we got on a 5-second chart from that? Let's get a page out of Stone's book. When you see these wicks at the top or bottom of a trend,
Yep.
throw a shadow box on them. This is a part of your if this then that programming.
It's the in between on the 5 minute from yesterday's close.
Nice. The most common thing to cause a wick is limit orders waiting on the book, and they get tripped. Really quick.
Listen to that.
Stops run.
So
That's
when
what they're sitting up there with people that are long, or maybe they're short, and they got stops up there, and then they get pushed, and then. But if you get a short squeeze up there, it could go for a long ways.
oh yeah, and when you mark them out as a zone of liquidity, you know where they were. You'll know exactly what happens when it chews through the zone. And there's your gap.
There it goes.
Love it.
Let's see now. I mean,
This can still be a fake out. Look at the 1 minute chart.
Sure.
We're right at the top of a previous liquidity zone, although it was short-lived. It's still
91,
relevant.
70.
This little wick right here. Boop.
So you gotta wait for the breakout.
Yep. It's
Oh,
got to have
trade
conviction
setup.
above that box.
Yeah. Now on a 5 minute chart I'm looking at, it's got to really close out above it. So, but I'm looking at the 1 minute as well, and that's almost the third touch. It is.
It's looking like it can possibly print a tweezer top here, though.
Yeah, be careful. Now the strength of it, it gives an idea, but I'm going to wait. You know, I'm slow, so I'll wait 2 minutes before. I'll wait on a 5 minute candle. I'm not going to rush.
That's a good
If
question.
it busts out, if it busts out, hey, no big problem. Then that's great. Then I'll have a pullback. There's several ways to get into it without chasing it.
Yes.
You know what chasing does, Sensei? I call
Chasing,
Jeremy Sensei.
chasing is wasting. Oh.
It's wasting. What chasing does is it causes unneeded or you don't need to. It's wasteful energy. It causes an expulsion of energy.
Yep, you're using your dry powder just a little too fast there, Ricky.
But if you trade, it's right. But if you trade and rest, and someone got me started on that trail. If you chill, then you can get your stuff.
That's it. Just relax. You don't need to be speed metal. There's a time and place for it. Believe me.
Yeah.
I do it every day. But there's some times where you just wait, and that's an old Warren Buffett quote. You know, the market is a efficient vehicle of transferring money out of the hands of the impatient and into the hands of the patient. You just sit back and chill, you know, have a cup of tea, whatever. Eat a cookie. It'll eventually do what you want. It's going to tell you what you want. So there's a question on the YouTube channel, how to avoid a GFV. A GFV is a good faith violation. And the way it works is funds on equities will take, transaction date plus 2 days to settle in your account. Funds on options trades settle overnight, and futures options settle instantly for cash. So if you are entering a position on unsettled funds and you decide to exit that position, that is a good faith violation because you haven't even settled the funds from the first transaction yet. So to avoid one, you'd like to be able to be appraised to how much settled funds you have available in your account and don't exceed it. You can get away with 1 or 2 a year, probably, but I wouldn't push it. You do three or more a year, eventually they will put some restrictions on your account. And sometimes they'll make it so you cannot enter a long position until those funds have fully settled. They can lock you out of it. Is it hugely detrimental to a day trader? It can be. It can be a hassle to be day trading on unsettled funds, and then suddenly you can't get out of the position because your broker won't let you. Boy,
Watch it now.
That can be sick when you're short on something, let me tell you.
It's either going to retest this 41.95 or it's going to blow.
Yeah, this is very much looking like a measured move setup to me.
When you
Already
say
got it
measured,
This is leg 3. So
well, if it breaks out now, there's also the measured move of the breakout of the channel or the trading range.
right.
And if it breaks out of the trading range, then it's got some range to go. I'm looking at 417.12 right now for SPY, and that would be a third of the breakout.
Right. And that's just a third move. So you got one measures here. That's one leg. There's your pullback. There's 2 legs. There's your pullback. The third leg.
Sorry, that was SPY and MES combined. Sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
Numbers.
Third leg would take you here for a half move, and an extension can take it all the way to 418. All right. Well, I'm going to sign off of the YouTube channel here and then wrap a couple things up in our Discord channel, and then I got to go and spend a minute with Creed over there at money.net.
Right.
I still got to get them to organize and get me links to those videos. I mean, I give them, basically what I'm giving you guys on our YouTube channel anyway, but it's just a matter of
Well, they probably ask questions differently too, because he's got that. He's asking you some great leading questions. I bet
he does. He sets it up for some great information to be dropped. So
We
I would love
want
to
more.
have.
we want more.
I'd love to have those links. They do have a YouTube channel, and you can probably find my videos a little bit after the fact. Probably at the close of the day if you wanted to check them out. But I usually end up sharing everything in our Discord anyway, so
Yeah.
it's not the most necessary thing, but in the moment maybe. But usually I'm not day trading with them. I'm just kind of giving my piece of analysis and dropping a little bit of knowledge on the kind of trading strategies we use with options particularly. And it's pretty. I got to say it's kind of not necessarily humbling. I would say would not be a good word for it. It's exciting. I can't think of a good word for. I can't think of a good word for anything today. But it is kind of neat to be literally be sitting there interviewed by a hedge fund manager. I mean, that just kind of speaks volumes to me. I must be doing something right if this dude's interested in what I have to say, and he's a hedge fund manager. Usually it's the other way around. Usually they're the guys talking to everybody else, and they're the guys who are sought after for interviews, and then also there's rules in place to where they certain things they can't disclose. So it's kind of cool to have that, I guess, prestigious thing of being in the company of a hedge fund manager, and he's asking me things. That just kind of, puts me in a place. All right, then. Well, I'm going to sign off the YouTube. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Again, like and subscribe if you can. It helps us out. The more we can get that channel to get some traffic, the more we'll do. Oop, another nice breakover. Wow. That is vicious. Long story short, though,
Spot.
tell your friends if you like what you see. That's what I'd love to have. Invite your friends to go check it out, because we drop knowledge every day, and if somebody's just cutting their teeth on trading, it might be the thing to help them out. Might give them the last little bit that they need to get a hand up and start taking on the market.
10 points. 10 points.
I've been
Just like that.
I've been kind of waffling on the idea, just to answer that question on the YouTube channel, I've been kind of waffling on the idea of starting my own hedge fund. And I might...
Let's do it, Jeremy. I'm in with you, man.
I might actually... I can't say, but I might actually have a little news on that coming up sooner or later, of whether I decide to do something like that or not. But I have to be careful, because if I start a hedge fund, there's certain things I can't say here if I do, because there's certain holdings to that standard of licensing. So, it kind of changes the way I got to do things. Doesn't mean I can't work for one, but, just kind of, I'll weigh it out. Eventually I'll have a decision on that. Alrighty, I really got to kick off, though. I'll see you guys a little later. Have a great afternoon and a great weekend. And I'll be back in our Discord channel very shortly. See you guys.
Bye. Get y'all after a while. Be
Bye.
careful out there.